Hello, I'm Eric Ikowski, AARP South Dakota State Director. Thank you for joining us today and participating in this live telephone town hall. AARP serves and supports more than 6 million members who are veterans nationwide. South Dakota is home to nearly 59,000 veterans, and we want to ensure that they are connected to the benefits, resources, and support they need. In addition to supporting our veterans, we also want to meet the needs of South Dakota's family caregivers. According to AARP research, those who provide care for veterans spend on average $11,500 of their personal income on out-of-pocket costs related to caregiving each year, 1.5 times higher than what other family caregivers spend. AARP has resources for family caregivers, as does the VA through their Caregiver Support Program. But of those 59,000 veterans living in South Dakota, only 47% have utilized their earned benefits at VA healthcare, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. So we have many important issues we can talk about today with our three special guests who work tirelessly each day on behalf of our state's veterans and their families. We will hear from them shortly, and we will also have time for your questions and answers, including an opportunity for you to ask questions live on the call. If you would like to ask a question at any time during the call, just press *3 on your telephone keypad to be connected with an AARP staff member who will note your name and question and then place you in the queue. Or you can also feel free to leave a comment. If you're just joining us, I'm Eric Ikowski, South Dakota State Director for AARP, and today we are talking about issues important to our state's veterans and military families. I am pleased to now introduce our three special guests. Aaron Pollard was named Deputy Secretary of the South Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs in July 2013. After graduation from Brandon High School in 2000, Deputy Secretary Pollard served in the United States Army until his discharge in 2005. He began his career with the department in 2006 as a Veteran Service Officer. In 2008, he was promoted to Program Manager and Claims Office Supervisor and served in this capacity until his appointment as Deputy Secretary. Also joining us is Brett Dickerson. Brett started with the South Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs in 2018 as a Field Veteran Service Officer until assuming his current position as a Program Manager for the Benefits Division. Before joining the department, Brett served 6 years in the U.S. Marine Corps and 27 years in local and federal law enforcement. Finally, we have Shawn Bohn. Shawn was appointed the Director of Veterans Benefits Administration's Dakota Regional Office in 2016. In this position, Mr. Bohn is responsible for administering compensation benefits and veterans readiness and employment benefits to South Dakota veterans and their families. He began his career with the VA in 2004 and has served in a number of roles in regional offices located in Philadelphia, St. Paul, and Fargo. We are so pleased all of you could join us today, and now I would like to first invite Deputy Secretary Pollard to provide some opening remarks.
Well, thank you and good afternoon to everybody. Looking forward to the conversation and whatever questions you have for me and for the other members on the panel. Just to give you a little bit of idea about the South Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs, our department works for the approximately 65,000 veterans that call South Dakota home. And when you include their dependents, that number grows to approximately over 200,000 South Dakotans. And on top of that, our department also works to serve all South Dakotans along with veterans and their dependents from across the country. So we aim to have a footprint that if a veteran needs assistance, that we're here to step up and assist with that. To do that, our department's comprised of what we call 3 divisions. The first one's the Veterans Benefits Division, which I think Brett will touch a little bit on, so I won't go into a lot of detail there. Essentially, we help with federal benefits and then the administration of the state benefits that are available through the state of South Dakota. Our second division is the Michael J. Fitzmaurice State Veterans Home out in Hot Springs. It's named for Michael J. Fitzmaurice, who's the only living Medal of Honor recipient in South Dakota. It's a 100-bed facility that offers independent living and nursing home care, where our residents actually live in neighborhoods that consist of 13 rooms per neighborhood. And then finally, the State Veterans Cemetery, which is located in Sioux Falls. It's a 74-acre footprint for the cemetery, and we offer all burial options to eligible veterans and their dependents. So just happy to be on the town hall today to discuss veterans issues and answer any questions that the group has. Thanks.
Thanks, Aaron. For those of you who have just joined our call, AARP South Dakota is hosting this call today to talk about issues important to our state's veterans and military families. This is an interactive call, so if you'd like to ask a question at any time during the call, just press *3 on your telephone keypad to be connected with an AARP staff member who will note your name and question and place you in the queue. Next, I would like to welcome Brett Dickerson. Brett, tell us a little bit about the work of the Benefits Division, and if you can, tell us what the most common question is that you receive from veterans and their families.
Thank you, Eric. Well, I'd have to say that the most common question that we're asked is, what are my benefits and what's available to me as a veteran? So that's how we spend our day here at the claims office for the South Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs. And just to tell you a little bit about our benefits division, we have a staff of 16 employees who assist veterans and their families in determining if they're eligible for VA or state benefits. There are 6 veteran service officers, 3 claims examiners, and an appeals manager in the Sioux Falls Claims Office, which is located on the VA campus in the regional office building. So veterans and their families don't need an appointment to come to our office here in Sioux Falls. They can meet with a VSO to discuss and apply for their benefits like disability compensation or non-service connected pension. And then there's a lot of ancillary benefits that are associated with those 2 primary claims. The appeals manager in our office also assists our veterans or dependents who've been denied for benefits and exhausted all of the other options in trying to get a grant for benefits. He'll help them present their case to the Veterans Board of Appeals, and that's a process that can now take anywhere from 1 to 3 years to decide. And that level at the Board of Veterans Appeals is basically just one step lower than taking your case to federal court. So pretty involved process, and it does take a lot of time, but our appeals manager is very able and capable and has done a great job for our agency. So we also have 5 field veteran service officers located throughout the state, and their role is to support the county and tribal veteran service officers, which each county is required to provide a veteran service officer for that county, be it part-time or full-time. And the tribal also each have their own veteran service officers in each of the tribes throughout the state. So the field veteran service officers for our state also provide the training and guidance in VA benefits to those tribal and county VSOs, so they're able to submit a complete claim on behalf of the veteran and their families in each of those communities. And then those claims are then submitted to our claims office, where they're reviewed by our VSOs and claims examiners, and then we send them on to the VA for processing. The field veteran service officers also attend outreach events to meet with the veterans and their families to answer questions and educate them on available benefits. So I look forward to taking any questions about our process for the benefits division, and thanks for being on the call.
Awesome. Thanks, Brett. And finally, we have Shawn Bohn, who works with the Veterans Benefit Administration. Shawn, tell us a little bit about your work with the VA.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shawn Bohn. I'm the director of the VA Regional Office here in Sioux Falls. We are formerly known as the Dakotas Regional Office, and we handle the states of North and South Dakota. We have about 240 full-time employees that process benefits for veterans across the 2 states. And we also have our veteran readiness and employment services in both regional offices and cover benefits related to insurance, education, home loan guarantee, and other ancillary benefits as well at these locations. We're open in the Fargo Regional Office and Sioux Falls Regional Office, Fargo 8 to 4 p.m. daily. So happy to take any veterans in for questions or assistance with claims submission. Also, the regional office in Sioux Falls is open from 8 to 4:30 daily. And again, happy to take any walk-ins from veterans who need assistance with filing their claims with the Veteran Benefits Administration. We also have an office in the Rapid City region. That office is exclusively open to the public for veteran readiness and employment, but is also ready to provide answers to any questions related to any VBA benefits that we offer. We have an office in Bismarck. Right now the position there is vacant, so it is not open to the public, but we also have an office up in Bismarck, North Dakota. So happy to answer any of your questions that you have today related to Veteran Benefits Administration, and I'll turn it back over to the host.
Excellent. Thank you, Shawn. For those of you who have just joined our call, AARP South Dakota is hosting this call today to talk about issues important to our state's veterans and military families. This is an interactive call. If you would like to ask a question at any time during the call, just press *3 on your telephone keypad. You will then be connected with an AARP staff member who will note your name and question and place you in the queue. We are ready to take a caller's questions now, so again, press *3 to be connected. While we're waiting for some callers' questions to come in, I'd like to start the conversation with a question. And Deputy Secretary Pollard, I'll start with you. One thing that has been in the news is the PACT Act, P-A-C-T Act, that was recently passed. Can you tell us what that is, and does it just affect service members exposed to burn pits?
Thank you for the question, and we're on the call with two other subject matter experts, so hopefully they'll let me know if I misspeak here. But the PACT Act basically expands eligibility for veterans that are exposed to toxic substances, mainly, like you mentioned, the burn pits for our Gulf War and post 9/11 era veterans, and then it also expands eligibility from the exposure to Agent Orange for certain veterans who maybe were exposed and weren't previously recognized by the VA as being exposed, and then also some radiation exposed veterans. The PACT Act is quite expansive. There's a lot to unpack with it. So at this point, I would just prefer to keep it high level from my end. If the other folks on the panel want to add anything that can speak more intimately about the PACT Act, I'd be happy to share that with them. But that's the main thing, and what we are doing as we do our outreach events and work across the state is just advise any veterans who think they may have been exposed and applied for benefits in the past and maybe were denied to seek out assistance from our department or another veteran service organization, or like Brett mentioned, the county or tribal veteran service officers, or if we've got veterans who think they were exposed and never filed for benefits, to again seek that assistance. And finally, the population I think that doesn't get enough attention is the dependents of veterans who maybe we lost due to these exposures, who they believe that their passing was due to these exposures. They should also seek out somebody to sit down and have a conversation with and kind of determine the next steps forward about what they should do as far as their eligibility. So.
Thank you. Brett or Shawn, any follow-up to that?
Yeah, this is Brett. I can expand a little bit.
Go ahead, Brett.
Thanks. Yeah, the PACT Act is like Deputy Secretary Pollard mentioned, pretty expansive, and there's a lot of general confusion out there because there are two sides of the PACT Act. Pretty much one side's dedicated to the Gulf War veterans, and the other side added some Agent Orange locations. People who were previously not in an area that was granted AO exposure are now eligible to put in for these benefits. So we're trying to find those and identify those veterans who may have been passed up for benefits before or didn't think they were eligible and didn't come in. And also mention were the dependents that may have filed many, many years ago, again, for a veteran passing from a presumptive or a condition that was granted due to Agent Orange exposure. And now, many years later, they're suddenly eligible. And we actually find quite often, just going through our regular files, that there are such dependents out there who are now eligible. So we've been making an attempt to contact them to let them know that they should now come in and talk to a veteran service officer about filing a claim. John, that's all I have.
All right, very good. Yeah, I mean, Aaron and Brett covered it. I'll just add that there's 20 new exposure-related conditions for our Gulf War era veterans, and 2 more additional conditions for our Vietnam era veterans who may have been exposed to Agent Orange. One of those conditions being hypertension, which is a pretty common condition for this group. And so we've received over almost 1.9 million claims related to this nationally. And so a lot of activity here. And so please seek benefits if you think you were exposed. In South Dakota alone, we've received well over 5,500 of these claims. And so want to continue to serve these veterans and expand the number of service-connected veterans. This PACT Act really expands benefits to a lot of veterans. And so want to get the word out about it and encourage all veterans and survivors to file claims or see their VSO to pursue filing a claim so that we can get them service-connected for these conditions.
Great. I appreciate the answers to that question. We do have a caller that has a question for us about FSA, and I'm going to have Carl from Rapid City come on air and ask his question of the 3 of you. Carl, are you there?
Yes.
Hey, Carl. Ask your question of the gentleman.
This is just a weird thing. When I was applying for some stuff with the Farm Service Agency, they say the state of South Dakota does not claim that you're a veteran after 10 years, which it seems funny. If you're a veteran, I think you should stay a veteran, but you don't qualify after 10 years. And I went up the chain, and they pretty much said, well, it's at the state level, and we can't do anything. The county agrees that it's wrong, but it's written wrong, and they got to follow the rules of how it's written. And I was wondering how we get that changed. It doesn't seem right to me.
Thank you for the question, Carl. I have your information to provide to the gentleman afterwards too. So we'll get somebody to call you back. But can the 3 of you answer that question?
This is Deputy Secretary Pollard. I guess I'll jump in on this one. Carl, is this for specific benefits that are through the Farm Services Agency, or were they speaking in general? Because in the state of South Dakota, there's no expiration date on when somebody's considered a veteran. Basically, if you meet the requirements in statute, you're considered a veteran in the state of South Dakota. There's 2 different statutes, and if you want to write them down and look them up, it's 33A-2-1 and 33A-2-2. Those are the 2 statutes within Veterans Affairs that cover what the definition of a veteran is in the state of South Dakota. That being said, depending on the type of benefits that you're seeking, there could be special rules. So I'd be interested to get your contact information, like Mr. Gaikowski said, and we can probably follow up with you and see what we can do to help kind of bridge that gap.
I appreciate that, and I'll make sure that you get Carl's contact information after this call. Shawn or Brett, any follow-up to that?
Yeah, this is Brett. I used to work for Department of Agriculture, and I can tell you that, like Deputy Secretary Pollard said, there's a lot of specific requirements built into their specific programs, like Farm Service Agency does fall under USDA. So it is very possible that it sounds like they're not calling you a veteran, but for their program purposes, there was a 10-year rule on if you were a veteran, you had 10 years to apply for a specific program, or it didn't count after that. So my guess, and we can definitely look into that more, is that's what was meant in that law.
Thanks, Brett. I think that clarifies a bit of that question, but I know Carl would appreciate some follow-up on that. Shawn, from your perspective, anything to add?
Nothing to add from the federal side.
Okay, thank you for that. So I've got a question from Gary from Sioux Falls. Where should a veteran go if they want to discuss filing a claim benefit?
This is Brett. I can answer that one. Excuse me. So, Gary, there are several options. First and foremost, if you live in Sioux Falls, there's Minnehaha County has a veteran service officer. He's located in the downtown area and is usually available to meet with veterans. There's also our claims office here on the VA campus for the state of South Dakota. Again, we're in the regional office building, which is the Veterans Benefits Administration side of the campus. There's also the public contact office for the VA, which is also located in that building, the regional office on the VA campus. But I'll give you a phone number that you can contact, and if you have any additional questions, that's for our office here on the campus, and that is 605-333-6869.
Awesome. Shawn, do you have any response to that as well?
Yeah, and we're located in the same building as Brett in the regional office. Our VBA public contact is open from 8 to 4:30 daily. We also have an 800 number that veterans can call, 800-827-1000. And that number is for general questions related to claims. They should be able to assist with those. But I do recommend they either give Brett's team a call and have a veteran service officer assist them, or come into the regional office and visit the VBA public contact area, which is open from 8 to 4:30 daily. In Rapid City, we do have another office there that is open from 8 to 4:30 as well. They can answer general questions. And then in Fargo, we have another office there that's open from 8 to 4 daily, and that is on the VA campus there in Fargo as well, in the regional office, just to the left as you enter the parking lot.
Awesome. That is extremely helpful information from all of you. So another question regarding benefits. So if I do not have a service-related disability, are there other VA programs available to me? And maybe
Short
that's to
answer,
you, Shawn. Yeah.
Yes, short answer is yes. We have non-service connected benefits for veterans who have 90 days of wartime service. That program is called pension, and it is an income-based program. But we also have eligibility for health care at the hospital. If you are service-connected, you get low or no-cost health care for that condition. And so service connection does affect your eligibility at the hospital. However, you do not have to be service-connected to receive care at the VA Medical Center. And I'm not an expert at the medical center or health care, but there is eligibility and services available through the VA hospitals at the respective locations in Black Hills and in Sioux Falls as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Shawn. So kind of transitioning to a different question or different frame of questions, a lot of what AARP gets approached about from veterans is about work and jobs, like figuring out employment opportunities, things like that. Can you answer this question maybe from a couple different angles? How can veterans smoothly transfer from military life to domestic life? And I'd be happy to have any of the three of you chime in on that question.
Yeah, this is Brett. Well, the military's been pretty good, well, since I left the military about providing a transition assistance program and training to the veterans who are being discharged. And that's, I think the gist of that is meant to hook them up with resources and prospective job applicants, that kind of thing. Once they get out, we try, at least in South Dakota, we try and reach out to those veterans just to thank them for their service and make sure that they see a VSO, provide them information on the local contact for a VSO. And we also can guide them towards the resources to help them if we do get occasional calls from veterans getting out or moving to the area asking about jobs, and we're able to point them to the right resources on where to find a job if they're veteran friendly. Our own agency posts listings for that sort of thing too. The Department of Labor has a veteran assistance person whose responsibility is to assist veterans in looking for jobs. So all kinds of resources out there. It's just a lot of them are confused about where to go, and our job is to point them in the right direction.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks, Brett. Shawn, anything from your side?
Yeah, from the Veteran Benefits Administration perspective, we have our Veteran Readiness and Employment Division. That division is made up of counselors who sit down with veterans, determine the training and education they may need for a career or gainful employment, we call it. And so what we'll do is hook them up with that program. If they're service connected at 30% or more, they can receive services through that program, receive education and training. Also, we encourage veterans to contact us if they're looking for opportunities in these areas, even if they're not service connected. We have some community resources that we can typically hook them up with. Brett mentioned a couple of them. The other thing that I will point out is VA has initiated a program where we reach out to recently separated service members via phone and provide them information about benefits and health care that they may be eligible for. And so that is a new program that has started in the past couple of years. And Brett mentioned this, but they all receive a transition assistance program briefing. Sometimes they're ready for that briefing and listen closely, but sometimes they're ready to separate and go with their families. So we have initiated this additional phone call from VA to recently separated service members to allow for additional information to be transmitted to our veterans. It's called the Solid Start Program, and VA calls or attempts to call all recently separated service members to go over benefits and health care that they potentially would be eligible for.
Excellent. I appreciate those responses. That's such a great benefit here in the state. I'm going to deviate again to a different topic now. Have a call in from Rachel from Platte that just left her comment with a screener, but commented that veterans are often targeted for scams. For the three of you, what are the most common scams that target veterans, and how can they protect their information and their benefits from scammers?
This is Deputy Secretary Pollard. I think I haven't said anything for a while, so I guess I'll jump in here. One of the hot button topics right now is companies that are popping up that are actually charging veterans to file claims with the VA, and basically a lot of them misrepresent themselves, and veterans end up being responsible for huge amounts of money that would otherwise go to them once their claims are decided. So we're seeing kind of the prevalence of that coming up. We've had companies in the past that charge veterans to get their military discharge for them, even though that's a fairly easy process that our department can help with, or even going directly to the VA or just going online to the National Archives is actually fairly easy. But I think I guess, and I'll put it in parentheses, they're kind of called the claim sharks. That's kind of been a big topic of discussion recently. And then I think also there's certain instances where folks will call asking for money, kind of making it sound like they're a veteran service organization, but they're not really a veteran service organization. So I would say to the veterans and anybody who's on the call that in most instances, there's assistance that's available that you don't have to pay for, either through our department, other veteran service organizations, or through your county or tribal veteran service officers across the state. And there's veteran service officers across the country, so there's really no situation where a veteran should have to pay to receive the benefits that they've earned, I guess, is long story short. But
awesome. I appreciate that response, Deputy Secretary. Shawn, anything from the Veterans Administration side of things for fraud protection?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing is just getting the awareness out there that, like Aaron said, there's a lot of services available at no cost to veterans, including our veteran service officers and our VSOs at the county level. Also, we provide direct services to veterans, obviously at no cost, within the VA public contact units. And VA does a lot of the work with regard to getting service records and things like that for veterans. So the awareness that if someone is charging for that service, the availability to get that service at no cost is out there, and getting the word out through these venues and every venue that we possibly can as we continue to perform outreach with our veterans is very important. And again, I'll just say it again, the services that are surrounding benefits related issues are provided at no cost from our veteran service officers, from our county veteran service officers, and even directly from VA. So it's so important to have that awareness if you're intending to seek benefits and need to know what your resources to do that are.
Awesome. Thank you, Shawn. So again, another question coming in from a caller that's off air. Janet from Watertown. How many South Dakota veterans are experiencing homelessness, and what programs are available to help them? And I'm not sure which of the three of you is best to answer that, but feel free.
John, you want to start from a VA perspective on that?
Yeah, and one thing I'll just say is that right now I don't have an exact number for you, but I will say that there are a lot of services both at the local level and also through the VA. One of our major initiatives from the benefits side is to make sure that folks who are homeless and file a claim have a claims processor specifically assigned for the activities surrounding that claim, including getting the evidence ready for that claim and getting that claim through the process in an expedited fashion. And so what's really important is to know, if you're advising a veteran or you yourself are a veteran who is experiencing homelessness and you're filing a claim, please make sure that you identify that you are experiencing homelessness so that we can guide that claim through the process in an expeditious fashion and get benefits paid to those individuals so that we can hopefully address the homeless issue. There's also services available through your local VA hospitals or CBOCs, community-based outpatient clinics. I know you mentioned you're in Watertown. There is a community-based outpatient clinic there. So if you are experiencing homelessness or you know someone, a veteran, who is experiencing homelessness, please advise them to visit those locations. They're aware of the services available at VA, and they can hook you up with VA resources with regard to how to address VA-related matters in an expeditious fashion. The other offices that can assist are VSOs. We are familiar with the resources in the community. There's a lot of 211 resources we're familiar with. So it's a good starting place to always come to VA or advise a veteran to always get in touch with VA if they're experiencing homelessness.
And I'd add to that, from a state perspective that we have excellent resources out there who do provide services for homeless veterans, and we reach out to them on a fairly frequent basis. The response has been phenomenal on their part. We never, shall we say, have a lack of resources when needed. Haven't experienced that. I know people run into problems time to time, but I can tell you as a whole, whenever we've referred somebody over, we've never heard any bad outcome or anybody's been let down. There always seems to be somebody willing to help that person out and get them to the right place and resource. The VA has been phenomenal when we send claims with priority processing because the veteran is homeless or at risk of becoming homeless, and those claims are always treated in an expeditious manner. And again, sometimes circumstances dictate that things may not work perfect because there are rules and guidelines to follow, and they do try and get that information as quickly as they can, but without it, they can't really complete a claim. So we do run into that occasionally, but again, those are just circumstances which come up, but not very often. VA usually gets through the situation pretty well, and we're able to move on and help that veteran.
Thank you for that response. I absolutely appreciate that. For those of you still on the call looking to have your question answered on air, just remember it's *3 on your telephone keypad to be connected with an AARP staff member who's going to note your name and question and place you in the queue. So again, *3 to get your question answered by our experts. So while we're waiting, I do have one from David in Yankton. Are all veterans eligible for health care at the VA?
I'll take that question. Go ahead, Aaron.
I was just gonna say the short answer to that is no. The VA's got 8 priority groups that they use to determine a veteran's level of eligibility for health care through the VA. And there are certain instances where veterans don't have any other eligibility criteria that they meet. And then they have to submit means testing, report their income and expenses, and the VA makes a determination if their income puts them under or over income for VA purposes to receive VA health care. I'd say that's why it's so important for veterans to seek out assistance or to discuss any of these issues with, we're going to keep saying the same things over and over again, but your veteran service officers or a county or tribal veteran service officer, or even as Shawn mentioned, he's got a really good public contact team in Sioux Falls and out in Rapid City, I know for sure. Because there are situations where veterans think they aren't eligible for health care, and then they come in and talk to us, and we're able to file a claim for a service-connected disability, and that opens up their ability to actually access VA health care for essentially anything else that they need for their health care. So short answer is no. Long answer is a lot of times there's potential there where we can look at the entirety of the situation and then maybe do something to help the veteran out.
Awesome. I appreciate that. So we have another question that came in from Cheryl from Mitchell, talking about caregivers for veterans. Can you elaborate more on caregiving and what is required to get support and what is available?
That's one of those tougher questions. The rules on that's kind of changed a little bit, and the experts on that are the VHA, the Veterans Healthcare Administration. From a VSO perspective, what we generally do, we'll assist the veterans if we think they meet the eligibility criteria, which if the veteran is 70% or more service connected, needs help with certain activities of daily living, they need supervision for certain things. It's a list of eligibility criteria. If they meet that, then we'll help them fill out the the Form 1010CG, 1010 caregiver form, and that gets sent over to the VA healthcare side for a determination. Again, they just changed a lot of the criteria, so I myself, as a VSO, wouldn't be able to explain it any better than what I just did. Obviously, we send things over that get rejected; they're not found to be qualified for it. So it's an involved process on that. I wouldn't want to steer you any more in a direction being unfamiliar with it.
So truthfully, the best approach is to reach out to your organizations and find out what is needed. Is kind of what I'm hearing first and foremost.
Exactly. We're going to run down the list if we feel, yep, you meet that, or or even if we're not sure, we're going to put in the application and see what the VA says. They'll give us a reason why a person is denied, but at least we can work with that. And we have several times we have appealed their decision and been successful in appealing that.
I think that's absolutely reasonable. So I appreciate that response. So I'm going to, before I start wrapping things up, I've asked you a lot of questions. Our callers and call-ins have asked a lot of questions, but I just want to give you all three of you, an opportunity to share something, a program or resource that we didn't cover that you want to make sure gets mentioned on air or on live stream on our Facebook and social accounts. So maybe Deputy Secretary, I'll start with you. Is there any program or services that we didn't talk about that you'd like to make sure that we do get mentioned?
Sure. Just real quickly, I'd like to do kind of a shameless plug for everybody that's on the call today. If you go to our website, and it's vetaffairs.sd.gov, you can find answers to a lot of questions you might have about benefits that we offer and that are offered federally for veterans. But I guess one of the things I'd like to hone in on is the fact that there are quite a few state benefits that are available to veterans. Everyone's got a little bit different eligibility criteria, but just keep in mind that there are state benefits available. We talk a lot of times about the benefits available federally to veterans, but a lot of people don't know that there are some education benefits that veterans can receive through the state of South Dakota. We also have a state approving agency that is within our department who helps with the administration of the federal education benefits across the state. Within that, there's OJT and apprenticeship programs across the state that veterans are able to utilize their post 9/11 GI Bill benefits to basically get on-the-job training or apprenticeship done. So I'd just say visit our website. There's just quite a few benefits in the state of South Dakota, just in the respect of everybody's time. I'm not going to go over every single one, but just a shameless plug for our website, and go on there, and there's just a lot of information there. You can even find where your county or tribal veteran service officer is located on a map on our website. So I would say that'd be my pitch, sir.
Appreciate that. Brett?
Well, just what Deputy Secretary Pollard mentioned, the website is a good resource. Also, I can't state enough how important it is, and I didn't know this before I came to this job. A veteran service officer is a very good resource to go to and get answers to the questions and either assist you with what you want to get done in filing claim or benefit, or steering you in the right direction, as we do often here. We cannot help them, but we know who can. And even if you go to the VA is a big entity, and sometimes you're just not quite sure which department to see, or it's not the right one. That just happens when you got an organization as diverse as the VA and all the stuff they do. Start here. We're a great starting point, whether it's our state office VSOs or the VSOs with DAV, PVA. They're also located in this building. We also represent the Legion and the VFW because they don't have dedicated service officers here. So any of those, county, tribal, VSOs, start with them, find out the answer to your question. If they don't know, they have a field veteran service officer to assist, or you can call our state office and we can certainly point you in the right direction, or have you come down here and we can help you out. I just, again, can't stress enough that that would be the easiest thing for a veteran, and we get it. If we represent the veteran to the VA, we are here to take that, shall I say, the workload off of you. We deal with the VA and we start doing the things so the veteran doesn't have to and get frustrated. And it's just the way it is with big organizations.
Brett, I appreciate that. And Shawn, before I go to you, we do have one quick question that popped up. Gordon from Huron had a question for Deputy Secretary Pollard. What are the requirements to be buried at the state cemetery?
Gordon, thanks for that question. The state of South Dakota, the State Veteran Cemetery, follows the same eligibility requirements as the national cemeteries do. So essentially, prior to 1981, there wasn't a minimum service requirement. So veterans who served their time and got out would essentially be eligible. After 1981, the VA and the requirements changed to 24 months of continuous active duty, or the period for which you were called up. But it's got to be federal active duty. Not all National Guard or Reserve members are eligible for burial in a veteran cemetery. They had to have had federal active duty that was other than for training. So if you know you're eligible for burial in a national cemetery, odds are you'd be eligible for burial in a state veteran cemetery. If that's something that the folks on the call are interested in, go to our website. Like I mentioned, there's a little tab up there for veteran cemetery, and we do have what we call a predetermination process that we can go through. So if it's something that folks are interested in, they can submit that to the veteran cemetery, and then basically know for sure that when they pass, they're eligible for burial there. Even if you do the predetermination of eligibility and you opt to be buried somewhere else, that doesn't force you to be buried at the veteran cemetery. So it's just something to help take some of that burden off whoever's taking care of you after you pass away. I hope that answers your question, sir.
I think that's a wealth of information there. I think that's really great. Thank you so much for that. Shawn, back to you. Again, the question is, what's one program or service that we did not bring up that you want to make sure that folks are aware of?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think I'll just take the opportunity first to talk about PACT again and reiterate the fact that there's a lot of veterans who are now eligible that maybe previously weren't eligible. So if you've given VA a shot in the past and maybe you're reluctant to come to the VA again, please give VA another shot to serve you, and hopefully you will get the benefits and all of the ancillary benefits that come with Service Connection. This time, it's important that you give it a shot because the laws have changed and VA is really a different organization than in the past. And also just want to remind folks that VA doesn't just provide compensation, service-connected disability benefits. We also have our Veteran Readiness and Employment, which is essentially education and training for gainful employment. We have life insurance through the VA. We have our home loan guarantee program, which is low interest home loans for veterans. And we also have our education program, which is the execution of the Forever GI Bill. So it's important that veterans know that there's a suite of benefits available to them through the VA, and it's not just Service Connection. So I'll just reiterate that and hope that we get those veterans who maybe gave VA a shot before and want to give them another shot. We encourage you to come try VA again and see if you're eligible under the new PACT Act provisions that make so many more veterans eligible for benefits, Gulf War veterans and Vietnam veterans the like. So appreciate your time today, and thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so on behalf of AARP South Dakota, I want to say thank you to everyone for taking part in today's telephone town hall discussion. If you have more questions or would like additional information, check out all the resources AARP has available for veterans and military families at aarp.org/veterans. We would like to sincerely thank Aaron Pollard, Brett Dickerson, and Shawn Bohn for being with us today. For those veterans and military families on the line, we want to salute your service and sacrifice to our great nation. We're sorry if we weren't able to answer your specific question today. If you stay on the line, you can leave us a voicemail with your question or comment. You can also send us an email at sdaarp@aarp.org. And don't forget that you can learn more about our work in the state at aarp.org/SD. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.